what are you going to think about, Nate? Your first things that come to mind when you think about Sanchez Marlins tenure. I'll throw out just a couple on the good and the bad. The Grand Slam robbery that he had in Seattle in 2023 for a guy that is not particularly known for his defense, especially not his leaping ability, and taking back a Grand Slam that ended up saving that game. And then on the other end, there was that incident towards the end of last season when he was intentionally walked, and he did not actually go all the way to first base before being replaced by a pinch runner. He turned to the dugout a little bit too early, and by rule, it was called out instead of actually being given a walk, just because he didn't exactly follow through on that. So on both ends of the spectrum, that's what comes to mind to me. Anything additional that for you from having watched parts of 6 seasons of him in Miami?
The first thing to me is we're looking at it right now, that smile. I've never seen a guy play with such joy. I mean, you maybe go back to Jose Fernandez. That guy always had a smile on his face. But Jesus Sanchez, I've probably seen that maybe a handful of times. That guy was not smiling on a baseball field. I went through his last game at home and sent fans away with a home run there. And, of course, his last game as a Marlin. He always supplied the only 2 runs on Wednesday's game against St. Louis. So he did well at the end, made the Marlins, he did well at the end for him. Jesus Sanchez had a great time in Miami. The baseball IQ was never always there. He made some mistakes, but that was a part of the Sanchez experience, man. Interesting routes to the balls in right field, and that time in center field, of course, that was spent in 2020. Was it 2022? He played center, I believe. Yes, that was an experiment. He was so much fun to watch. Hit probably some of the farthest home runs I've ever seen. Of course, at Coors, and then I think the second longest home run in loanDepot Park history last year against the Reds, only behind obviously El Garcia. Sorry to bring that one up, but those memories, of course, in Seattle, that home run robbery, and just how much fun that guy was to be around. He was a great guy in the clubhouse. Connor Norby tweeted out yesterday. He only played with Sanchez for a year, but he said he was one of his favorite teammates ever, and I can attest to that. He was awesome. Always had a smile on, still in the clubhouse. Great presence in there. So going to be missed, but he's already fitting in well for Houston. He's slotting in third in front of Carlos Correa there tonight, a big game in Fenway. So he's going to be relied on in big time. It's going to be a smaller ballpark, obviously, at Dyken Field, they call it now. So it's an opportunity for him to maybe cash in on that 30 home run value that Miami's front office always thought he had. So good opportunity for him. We're going to see him here in 3 days already. So it's going to be weird to see him in the blue and orange. But great memories of Sanchez, and definitely going to miss him.
We've teased Kevin privately about this when Sanchez hit one of the longest home runs ever in this ballpark. The fact that going down, they got him the ball and all that. I'm not going to go too far into this specifics. I brought it up just because that's what stood out about his skill set, right, Kevin? The fact that he hit some of the most majestic home runs in Marlins history. It wasn't quite the frequency of Stanton, but the distances were amazing. There was both that one, the one in Coors that went even farther. In Coors Field, nearly 500 feet. That was the one skill that really stood out about him, even though he only saw it part of the time. But that's kind of, I think that made him pretty popular among fans. The fact that he had the potential to go off like that at any moment and change the game.